Music has only been thought of and loved as an art form in the past. This must change, and it must be raised up at this time to its true position as the ultimate science. The science of music is a science of unification. Music is a communication link or language not only between all of nature, but also between all of the universes. The science of music is another way of stating that the universe is made up of vibratory rates. Everything in all facets of nature has this vibratory rate. Every living cell, no matter where it is found, and even if it is no longer alive, emits a musical tone as its fingerprint. Because music is capable of many different expressions that are able to be translated into sensory languages, it is the best tool to use to pull together all the cellular structure in the universe. Music has the ability to heal, to see into other worlds, to hear other universes, and also our own. It is the ultimate form of communication between all creations and all universes. The science of music can be the tie that binds religion and science together. It will tie together everything that has existed from the time of the Big Bang into a musical vibration for the purpose of finding compatibility between the different kingdoms. This will aid in the healing of humans and the planet. There is a way through music to communicate with all kingdoms. This way will be given through the vibratory charts that will come forth based on the science of music. These charts are very important to our health and also to all the new technology that will come about. To further the vibratory charts, we need to mesh together the sound spectrum, which is based on 12, and the electromagnetic spectrum, which is based on 10. Somehow they would have to come together. It's the difference between the metric system in math, which is based on 10, and the system we use based on 12. There will also be personal music charts for humans and animals. One of the first baby steps of taking music into science is by tying music and color together. For example, our musical scale of C matches the colors of the rainbow: red, orange, yellow, green, blue, indigo, and violet. The red of C mixed with the yellow of E gives the orange for D. The yellow of E mixed with the blue of G gives us green for F. The red of the next higher octave C starts mixing with the blue of G, giving indigo for A, more blue due to being nearer to G, and violet for B, more red due to being nearer to the higher C. Our primary colors are red, yellow, and blue. The colors of the C major triad or chord are C, red, E, yellow, and G, blue. The three main chords in the key of C, the 1-4-5 cadence, are the C chord, red, the F chord, green, and the G chord, blue. These are the colors that RGB, red, green, and blue, color monitors for computers are based on. The science of music can be applied to 7 sciences to enhance and enrich our lives in many ways. There are plans for a new solar energy system, new schools designed to open a creative channel in very young children, a new blood test machine, a healing machine, new ways to grow more and better crops, a centrally located water reservoir for the country, and much more. These 7 sciences are agriculture, education, chemistry, biology, healing, architecture, and astronomy. The science of agriculture. There are 2 projects in the science of agriculture: Nature's Mineral Garden and Musical Greenhouses. Nature's Mineral Garden. New minerals raised up in the upheaval of mountains are minerals not yet discovered on the planet that came from deep within the molten core of Earth. These were embedded in her and never reached the surface as the planet cooled. The top of the mountain is not where they will be found, it is underneath the mountains. The same is true in the ocean. Under the mountains, at the bottom of the ocean, are even more concentrated uplifting of minerals from even deeper into the core. Some of these minerals will be the way to miniaturize crops, and also many other uses for them will be found. I feel that miniaturization of all crops will ease the problem of feeding the world. We have no names for these new minerals, but nevertheless their importance must not be missed. These were and have always been and always will be building blocks of life. There are, I believe, 21 undiscovered minerals that will be able to be blended not only with each other, but with already known minerals. These combinations of minerals used for growing the food which we eat will then help eliminate many of our diseases today. But the greatest result of the entrance of these into the food chain will be enhanced mental ability for all, thus leading to the stage of the intelligent reasoning mind. Astrological charts. The time of each crop's planting or incubating periods can be checked through a science not investigated yet but needs to be. Astronumero-charts for individual families of plants. Following the vibratory charts of 7 would give the colored light, the musical tone, the month, day, and so on to guide the growing of these plants. The crystal water reservoir. One of the first steps in achieving nature's mineral garden would be in experimental water disbursement stations. What is needed is a roundhouse reservoir in the center of our country, a huge crystal butterfly that responds to humidity, sunlight, temperature, and calendar time. It would be shaped like a butterfly with 2 large wings on the top, 2 smaller on the bottom, and the body in the middle. The body of the butterfly is the control room. The wing to the northwest houses the actual releasing instruments for outflow, the one to the northeast for inflow. The butterfly antennae are moisture sensitive as to these 2 flows. They act as gauges as to what is going on underground. The wing to the southwest is a calendar room noting crop planting times and irrigation needs for all areas. The southeast wing is the area where the humidity is kept track of for all areas. The substance this butterfly is built of is important. It must be made of fibrous, grainy crystal that is actually grown underground. This will be the sensing device for diverting excess rainfall from one section of the country to another. Sensors in dry areas would automatically turn on sprinkler systems to the exact degree that is needed in large fields. The water is stored underground. The crystal butterfly is on top. The idea is not to deprive any area of its normal rainfall, only to draw off the excess to redistribute it in dry areas. It should be set up to be used to irrigate the dry sections of the west, but with the ability to reverse the flow to the east if needed. Most of the inflow will be from the east to the west, and pipelines will slant to the west downhill, but with pumps that can reverse it if necessary. Musical greenhouses. Food production will be done inside buildings with colored lights and music where weather conditions will not affect them. The growing of food products will be all timed by a clock, so many minutes of a certain color and musical tone combination for each crop. A musical greenhouse need not be expensive. A material that lets in the sun's rays, a movable blind, an automatic shade tracking the sun, controlled by the sun, is what is needed so that the intense direct sun never enters, but the light just past the dead center of the sun does. Glass is not the material needed for this room. It needs a material in the order of canvas that can breathe but contain at the same time. There is a special coating that is used on the outside of this material that opens pores and closes them according to this light from the sun. This is complicated but important. The shading is the secret, plus also the coating. Musical vibrations would be used in the growing of fruit, miniature fruit trees, and shrubs. They would respond to musical vibrations. In fact, this is a secret to producing much fruit on very small trees and bushes. The use of the 3 middle tones of the C major scale, E, F, and G, are best for growing, and their matching colors, yellow, green, and blue, will also be proven to be the best colors to induce controlled growing. Each plant will have a computer setting for the lights and pitches according to what growth cycle it is in at that particular time. Because the indoor orchards will be in all stages of growth at the same time in different areas, the ceilings in the fruit and vegetable barns will be panels able to be any color of light depending on different crops and different stages of growth. The attendant will be able to tell if a tree or a plant is not doing well by feeling the vibrations upon entering the room. Color in combination with musical tones will be put to many uses in the future, and the growing of our food will be one important use. The science of astronomy. The universe is alive with musical vibration. For instance, in the universe there are time tubes that run through it which, when found, would make space travel much easier and faster. The vibratory rate within these time tubes is totally different than the vibratory rate outside the tubes. Inside the tubes the rate is tightened up. This is not the same as speeded up. There is a big difference. To speed up the vibratory rate makes a shimmer effect. To tighten the vibratory rate means to pull it together and make it sharper. Speeding up diffuses it, tightening it sharpens it. It is the same identical vibratory rate that is outside the tubes but is tightened, which reduces the distance to be traveled. This is quite difficult to describe. The closest thing I can give as an analogy is to picture a field of cooked rice as the outside of the tube and a field of uncooked rice as inside the tube. The field of cooked rice spreads out over a much vaster area with the same amount of rice that would make up the inside of the tube. Since the original measurement of the rice was identical, you would be using the same amount of vibratory rate in both areas, only you could travel through it much faster as uncooked rice. In the future, we will be able to travel effortlessly to these other stars, and will be astounded at the number of populated ones, some below us in progress, but most much more highly evolved. Scientists are still not considering any type of life other than physical forms. When they realize that life is in energy forms of high frequency, they will open the door to many discoveries. Higher energy forms are totally unrestricted in their abilities, and universal laws must be followed, or all would be chaos. The universe is but one huge, glorious transformer for the Creator's energy. The study of astronomy is very important to understanding the passage and transforming of energy. If a transforming field duplicating this original transforming field could be built, there would be health, peace, and joy unending for all. This is what this project of the science of music is all about. The transforming field can be built in stages and added to and enlarged as understanding comes, but it must start with the basic charts to reap the benefits that even a basic beginning will give to humanity. The epicenter frequency is a line of demarcation between the central core of the universe and all other divisions of the universe. This frequency is found in all dimensions, but is stepped down from the epicenter by many transforming agencies. These transforming agencies are the ones that will go on the charts of planets, stars, and nebulae. This chart will act as a transformer for the other charts, and when the healing machine is constructed, this chart will be the basis for the wiring schematic of the machine as the basic transformer for all other information. This machine will be the ultimate goods and services piece of equipment, as it will deal with the health, understanding, and growth of all things, including human beings. The astronomical bodies and the energy waves of the universe are moving in direct opposition, and when the energy waves meet with the body, the energy is transformed at that instant to the needs of that body for the time that particular energy wave is in contact with that body. When it has passed that point, it is stepped-down energy, much weaker, but now more usable to the next body it meets. This takes place in a direct line away from the central core. By the time the energy reaches planet Earth, it has gone through infinitesimal transformations. As Earth uses much of the energy, it is weaker as it passes on by the planet on its way back to the central core to be rejuvenated. There is certainly far more of it available for use, and the science of music will show this and also show the means of reaching it. Fly zappers. The small scientific project for the science of astronomy has to do with flies, the pests that cause much irritation for us. They can be destroyed by a musical tone. It is a new idea in fly control. It will not work on other bugs, like the bug zappers we have now, but only on flies. This is because the fly is made up of the highest musical pitch audible on Earth. It is not audible to the human ear, and this zapper will not harm or cause any change in the human body. The human mind might benefit from it, as a matter of fact. This is the highest mind level vibration that, if able to be reached, would allow humans to fly through the air without any physical means of propulsion. The fly is similar to the bird, but is made up of only this one vibration. The bird is made up of two. To control flies in an area, there would need to be a constant humming sound of this highest pitch. This pitch can be made by electronic instruments coupled by octaves over and over until the pitch goes off the register of the machine that is detecting it. The pitch is then lowered just enough to bring it back into registry, and this is the pitch that will cause flies to drop dead instantly. This project, if done as given, will be proof of the science of music and lend much credibility to the rest of the projects. The tone would be to the fly as a disintegration ray. Their bodies would disappear after a couple of hours. Of course, as long as it is turned on, there would be dead flies dropping everywhere. But the mess would clean itself up within a couple of hours if the machine were turned off. The sound acts as a disintegration ray that is written about in our science fiction stories. The practical use for this would be in barnyards and outdoor restaurants, which would need to have a net covering to contain the bodies. It may not be so practical in that instance because of dropping into the food. It would need to be used in the area out around the restaurant. Homes, of course, would benefit greatly by this, also food processing plants and so on. There are many uses for it. It is not only the commercial value of it that we need to think about, but also the proof of the concepts of the science of music. It is not complicated and does not need to be an expensive experiment. It all started with a vibration, a single vibration, and a single vibration could cause the breakthrough needed to put the science of music into place on the planet.